So what I want us to do is to start becoming more conscious, start choosing things in a better way for ourselves, and start creating a life that's going to gear us to really take advantage of the opportunities that are going to show up for us in the years to come.
This podcast is brought to you by The Integrated Human. We work up, down, inside out to plug yourself into your potential. If you want to see what we are up to and what's next, sign up to our newsletter or follow us on social media. If you like what we are doing, we really appreciate it if you can like our post on social media and YouTube and help us grow.
All right. Welcome to the Big and Small Podcast. I'm Jason Shields and I'm big.
And I'm Marit Gabrielsen and I'm the tiny one.
Yup. Welcome back.
Thank you.
She's got combat boots on.
I do have combat boots on.
Yes, you do.
I do. I do. I haven't had time to take them off.
She even has a knife in her pocket.
I even have, if you don't believe me, if you are on YouTube, you should go and check. See here? Oh, I can get it out of my pocket. It doesn't work very well if you need to defend yourself.
You were wiping her
There you
around.
go.
There we go. Yeah.
Knife.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
I have a knife in my pocket.
I said, can I have it? And she's like,
No.
hell no. I'm like, all right.
I needed to take out like strips. The thing that you...
that you
tie hands with.
That you handcuff people with?
in,
Like the plastic strips?
Yeah.
Those are badass.
I wasn't thinking about... I don't use them for handcuffs. I use them for fences. But sure. Yeah. That thing.
Looks very official.
Yeah. For the people that can't see me, because they are on every other channel, Spotify exists, podcasts exist. I'm wearing all my army gear.
Yeah.
Almost, not everything.
Well,
I don't have the helmet and stuff.
Yeah, and not the flak jacket.
No,
because
I've been, and you can also hear in my speech that I've been going would be.
Marit is in uniform. You've been yelling at some people.
And I've been focusing on other stuff for over a week.
Yes.
So my speech is kind of slurry.
Slurry. Well.
Yeah. I've been in the military for 9 days.
Yep.
Supporting one of the bidding. This is going to be a long one if this is going to continue. It is the biggest shooting competition in Norway.
It's the national championship.
Yeah, over 4,000 participants.
And 20,000 people descended on our small village of 13,000.
So it's been a lot of people. And if you are from like Texas or Nevada, Vegas, that's not a lot of people. That's basically a casino hotel or less. In Voss, that's a lot of people. Jason just said, we are normally 14,000 and 20,000 people were there. So it's a big increase in population.
Yeah. You noticed.
Yeah. It's been very fun. So I've been helping small kids. And it was called the Veterans, which is 73 and up. The oldest participant was 91 years old.
91 years old and still shooting the eyes
out of the
target. That's
awesome. Very impressive. So had a good time. But my brain's been very focused on people not shooting each other on accident. So I'm a little bit tired in my head.
Yeah, well, you have 300 kids running around with guns. You probably, and their parents are plus minus informed of what the rules are.
No, I don't know. I have no clue. I was in a cage helping where I was supposed to help. Good. Military style. So,
God bless.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I haven't had time to change because
and you have not been shot.
No.
Thank you.
I had to duck once.
Yeah, we have plans. You can't get shot. We don't have time for that.
I did duck once, and then I went out and I stood behind that person.
Yeah.
For the rest of the competition, just to be sure that it was okay. But it went very fine. Exactly. Very well. It was a very well organized event.
So you
very
could
fun.
combat boot stomp that rifle if you had to.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Well done.
So, what are we talking about today, Jason?
Okay. So, I'm going to ask you. You want to talk about enjoying your life? You want to talk about making no excuses? Or do you want to talk about the truth of the way things are and how to pick things in your life?
The second one.
Which was what?
I can't remember. I just picked it. My brain is so on. I've never. It's very interesting
Yeah.
that I my brain is so fried. It was, and I had to kind of say no. Well, there was the second one because I have a system which is going to take a very long time for me to explain right now, being
Yeah.
speech impaled.
Impaled?
Well,
Impaired.
Impaired.
Yeah.
But
Don't be
the second
impaled.
one, the one, not the enjoyment one, but the truth one.
The truth one.
Wasn't that the second one?
Was it not making excuses?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that one. Okay. All right. All right. All right. So not making excuses.
Yes.
All right.
That's very interesting though, because people always make excuses.
Yeah, excuses are a way to apologize, survive, and avoid growth.
It's a way of survival.
Yeah, but it's also apologetic. It's kind of like people wanting to do the undo button. They're like, oh
Yeah, they're gonna delete words.
yeah, they want
space
to
back.
and sometimes people can learn the lesson even though they're making excuses or that they're avoiding the truth. I never said that and I didn't do that and all that, but there's also the whole point is that they actually do feel bad about it and they're like, "Oh, that yeah. And they go back in their head and they like push the bzzz button. They go beep, that never happened. Like that'll never happen again kind of thing. And then you can kind of in a way forgive an excuse maker or a consequence avoider in that way. But it's not that good for them, right? So in general, when people are making excuses or they're avoiding the consequences that are there that they should take, what they're doing is they're avoiding growing. They're avoiding learning why that's not an okay thing.
They always have a reason for what they did. You know?
Exactly. But when you have a reason that why they did what they did that doesn't in a way match the environment, that doesn't in a way weigh up for the consequences of what they did, then it's fucked up.
Yeah, and I also find that often what people did,
Yeah.
it's like I said, it's always a reason behind, but that reason often is not often conscious.
Yeah.
It's not conscious. So, and this is where it gets tricky
Yes, exactly.
because they did, but they didn't, and it
Yeah.
was on purpose, but it was not on purpose.
Yeah, because if it's on purpose, it's on purpose. Then there's no avoiding. There's like I did that because I wanted the consequences. That the effect of what I did was what I wanted. But if they do it semi-consciously and they avoid the consequences or they avoid the situation that comes as a result, then they actually don't become aware. They don't really understand, okay, you just don't do that. That's like the ritualistic behavior. Oh, we don't talk about that thing. Well, why not? Because, well, in 1943, this thing happened and Grandpa came home and then it was a shit fit. So we just never talk about that thing.
In this family, we don't wear purple.
Yeah, we don't. Why? Why is purple
No, we just
bad?
don't.
Yeah,
Never, do not mention that ever again.
exactly. Right? Instead of someone saying, okay, instead of just putting the fucking guillotine on that thing, why don't we take a second to actually look at what happened and understand? Oh, we don't wear purple because we just lost one of our sons and he got the Purple Heart or whatever. And we just, every time we talked about purple or had purple, it reminded us of little Johnny and we miss him and we're crying and Grandpa cries and he deserves all the good in life because he's a good person and we want him to be happy. But every time you put on a purple sweater,
It reminds me about little Johnny.
But Grandpa's dead. Nobody thinks about purple and little Johnny except for Grandpa and he's gone. But for some reason, the family never wears purple again or whatever. There's a ritualistic, but that's kind of like a structural blockage to evolution and consciousness. So that way of dealing with things is really unhealthy. I'm sure almost everybody who's listening to the podcast has something in their family that they recognize here, that there's some mechanism that it's weird. Like, why is it that that's what we do? I don't understand that. Or there's a thought pattern that doesn't fit them personally. And they see that everybody else in the family has or whatever. But these are these little niches that show up back in the day when people didn't talk so much. After the First and Second World War, people were what? They were surviving. So a lot of our grandparents really didn't spend time on the smaller stuff.
They
Like
didn't have the luxury.
they didn't have the luxury. They were like, okay, we got enough calories in the house because kids
Back
are.
then, you couldn't identify as a cat.
You couldn't identify as a cat or as a Turbo Dragon
No, you could.
computer. Like you just needed to be a person and you needed to get work the fields or bring home a paycheck. And there wasn't that much room for your personal, I don't know, your personal development in a way. You were a function of a system in a group. And we've gotten so far away from that, which in some ways is very good. But in that way of personal development, instead of people developing themselves in a way that is congruent with their environment, they're trying to make the environment work for them. It's like I can personalize my phone, so why can't I personalize the way everybody talks to me? I identify as a cat, so I want everybody to say hi by saying meow,
Meow, meow.
meow, meow.
Yeah.
And when they don't, of course, do that, I'm offended, and I have basically a right to take this up in Supreme Court. You know, it's a bizarre development on that side. So on one end, we had, after the Second World War, we had absolutely no right to speak about ourselves because community needed us. But now we're trying to bend society to us. Another place that this happens is when people are given a diagnosis. So I personally have 2 different types of dyslexia.
I think I can diagnose myself with 6 stuff if I'm really good.
Oh yeah, probably, right. But like we all have, but like if we're talking about people have actually put that label on you.
Yeah, well, I did a whole check. I also
Yeah, you
had
did?
dyslexia.
Oh yeah, sweet.
I can't even say the word.
I have dyslexia. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. You have dyslexia. I have dyslexia. I have 2 different kinds of dyslexia.
Did you have the math one as the number one?
Yeah, I have the mental one, the one in the brain, but I also have one in the eyes, which I have a nystagmus, which makes my eyes basically kick back and
Yeah,
forth.
go to ding.
Yeah, so things appear to switch on me, and things don't make sense because I'll miss pieces of what I'm reading, and I'll also switch things that I'm reading until I have become wise enough in my brain to understand that what I'm experiencing can't be the case. And that's why you'll notice that I ask lots of questions and I talk around things because I have to, in my mind, put things in a context to make sure that I'm seeing them correctly. Sometimes just having a piece of information will fuck me up because it's floating around because it can switch and disappear and change in my head or when I see it, unless it's connected to other things. But that's also helped me understand things, right? So I've leveraged my quote unquote diagnosis, realizing that I have to read more times than other people. I have to find a strategy for myself so that I can function. And I've actually turned that into something positive for me.
It becomes like everything else. We talk about a lot that I know I have a lot of anger.
Yeah.
Until the point where I'm aware of it, you still shouldn't behave like an idiot, but you kind of can excuse it.
Yeah.
But when I got to the point where I knew I have a lot of anger,
Yeah.
I'm also and I know I'm getting informed. It's a fact. I have a lot of anger. Then my responsibility for my anger starts.
Yeah. That's correct.
The consequences of that thing, I can't lean on the fact that I have anger. I can say, I'm so sorry. I'm working with it. You can kind of, in the beginning.
Yeah.
But when you get on the paper that you have anger, you're also responsible for that anger.
Yeah.
And the consequences of your anger.
That's
because awareness is not a cushion to lay on.
Yeah, like
it's not an excuse.
A label is not an excuse.
It's not an excuse. It's from that point you are responsible.
Yeah.
for what that thing is.
Yeah.
And to use it.
That's it. You have to find some strategy for still functioning.
And if not, it's gonna stop you from growing, like we
gonna
talked
stop
about.
you.
Because that's
Exactly.
gonna be the excuse. So yes, now I know where you're going. It
now you
works
see
slow
it,
in
yeah.
here right now,
No, it's okay,
but I
it's
did
okay,
get
but
it. Took
yeah.
me just 15 minutes, but I see it
Good
now.
job, right?
But yes, because you every time it didn't go my way and I got angry and I threw out to China,
Yeah, but I have anger.
I have anger. So you can't blame me, Eirik, my husband. You can't blame me for throwing out to China because I have anger.
Yeah. So deal with it, bitch.
So deal with it. Buy more China.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I don't want the
exactly.
cheap ones. They want the expensive one.
Yeah, why did you make me angry and make me throw the China all over the
Stop
floor?
making me angry. I will
Right.
not throw China.
Yeah, right.
Throw China.
And that's it. That's a perfect example. Because if you're asking him to go buy new China and then blaming him for making you angry,
Of course they should.
of course he should. No, but then you're expecting the outside world to fix itself in relationship to you,
And I take no responsibility
responsibility.
for my anger or my reactions
Exactly.
or my actions with my anger.
Yeah. So maybe you have anger, but are you still responsible for what you do with it?
Big time. The
Yeah.
more I get aware, the more responsibility I do get.
That's it.
And and the thing is, it's not like you're never gonna throw China again, because it will happen. You will have. By the way, I have never thrown China,
No,
but it's a very good point.
it's a good example.
I haven't done it yet.
You will not.
I will not. Well,
'cause it's too
I'm still
expensive.
32. You know,
You
I
still
have
appreciate money.
60
Like-
something years left. So that never said never. But the more aware I am, the more responsibility I have. You will, however, I do still get angry, and I get a reaction
Yeah.
before I'm able to respond.
Yeah.
But that kind of like the reaction time to take it in and not react is getting less and less the more aware of I am. And I'm also better at excusing my behavior when I know that I latched out on something I shouldn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
of the responsibility.
Because you have responsibility and you also want to grow. And it can be the greatest thing for you. So for example, my dyslexia, I love it now. I love it because it made my life so difficult to begin with that I had to have alternative strategies to get through school. I didn't think, since I have to take third grade over again, and everybody thought I was super stupid, and I didn't understand when I was in the class with people who were handicapped. I didn't understand that.
Because these people don't know, because you were in the class with people with Down syndrome, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because you were a special kid.
I was a special kid. I was a special needs
Special
kid.
needs kid, yeah.
Yeah.
Every
people
kid's special.
People don't. Yeah, every kid's special,
Special.
of course. People don't know this, but my dyslexia was so bad that I actually got put into the class with handicapped people, and I was there with people with severe brain damage and with Down syndrome, and it was quite special because I learned a lot there. I did, because they were wonderful people. I never got so many good hugs. I never got loved on more than when I was in that class. Everybody was happy every single day to see you, which is not the case in normal life.
Far from it.
And I actually got some pretty special attention from the teacher because I could read and write to a certain degree, and not everybody else there could. So, it's not like I improved my study skills there. What happened was when we moved from Kansas City to Florida, I did the third grade over again.
Did you live in Florida?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, St. Petersburg, Florida.
I didn't know that.
That's awesome.
Oh, I learned something.
Yeah, and it was awesome. I love Florida. I went to school there, and I remember the first day, I was just in the normal class, and I was like, "This is kind of weird because everybody's kind of normal here." Like,
No hugs.
I had no hugs. Not very happy, and the teacher started doing math, and I walked up to the board, and I just, because I'm kind of, I don't know, I want things to be right.
No.
right? I want things to be right. So
No, never figured.
yeah,
that.
right. So she did something really. She made a huge mistake. So I went up and I erased her mathematical equation and I rewrote it. And she goes, "Oh, honey," I remember her name, Mrs. Marine. She goes, "Oh, honey, I think you have dyslexia." And I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "You just reversed the order of the numbers." And I'm like, "No, that's right." And she's like, "No, it's not." And I'm like, "Yes, it is." And I started crying because I was so sure that I was
Oh,
right.
I hate that
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah. And she said, "You know what? We have to have you tested. Let's get this tested." And it
So you did
turns
it right thing, just reverse.
I just reversed. It was reversed because like I said, I have both types of dyslexia. The one with the nystagmus, which messes the order and the placement, and sometimes takes away some of the numbers or words. And then I have the one in the brain that actually just like
So
basically
instead
mirrors.
of "Hey Joey," you can read "Joey, hey."
Yeah, it's very frustrating. So when I then understood that I had dyslexia and that I had both kinds, they gave me an intelligence test as well. They found out that I was way over average, which was pretty useful for me. I think I got like 132 on that test or something like that, which it's very good. I realized that maybe the answer for me wasn't to be in the special needs kid or the handicap class, though, like I said, I really felt very welcome there. I did. But it was more to help me find strategies. And I found the strategies because I decided not to let this stop me. And what do I mean by that? I have 11 years of university behind me now. I've done so much at a high academic level. And weirdly enough, through middle school and the beginning of high school, my life was hell. I was literally crying my eyes out with math every night, every single night. And my dad, my stepdad, who's my adoptive father now, Tom, he is a genius. His IQ is like over 160. He's like 168 or something like that, which is Einstein level. And he didn't understand why I didn't understand math. And my emotional trauma and frustration around this was massive. And I literally cried for 3 hours sitting next to him trying to go through my homework. The problem with this is that if you allow the discomfort and the suffering to stop you from trying, stop you from demanding something from yourself, then you will never make the breakthrough that I made. And when I now look at my dyslexia, what I find is that it's given me an unbelievably good sense of listening to people, because I couldn't necessarily read, but when I could listen to lectures, so I got most of my information from the lecture and then suffered through the reading. I was one of the top 3 students in high school when I graduated, and I was a second best in university. So not the first best, second best. I screwed up one of my exams and got blown out of the water. And I've gotten an unbelievable ability, when I look at it in hindsight, to put things together in a system in my mind, to see how I make a context in my mind to understand things. I cook things down to a simple structure and figure out how that structure fits. And that has saved me so much. And it allowed me then to learn how to be good at many things, because the blueprint of becoming good in everything is almost the same. It's just the details that change. So when you have that skeleton structure in your mind, then you understand how to put things together and make progress, right? But that suffering, that if I'd made an excuse for myself, I never would have gotten past that. I would have always been the dumb kid. I would have always been the kid who should have been in the handicap class, right? So I remember you saying something so beautiful.
Always very fascinating because I never remember. What did I say? This is also, you remember stuff.
Well, I have
So,
to because
that's the thing. You have to because you can't read about it after. I ain't gonna remember the wrong thing.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's it. So the cool thing that you said was that, okay, you have a diagnosis and that creates something inside you. But what you do with it is your behavior. Unless you have Tourette's, where you literally have no control over what you're saying.
Yeah, a diagnosis or whatever it is doesn't. It's not excuse for behavior.
That's right.
Behavior is different than diagnosis, unless it's like you said, Tourette's, because that's you can't control.
Yeah.
But
they still have to behave.
They still have to
just
behave.
Can't control what they
but
say.
If you have dyslexia and choose not to show up for the reading test, that's not your dyslexia not showing up. That's you not showing up.
That's me not showing up.
You can be afraid for the results, so it could be you can have all the excuses for it.
Yeah.
And you can blame, but the fact that your dyslexia could be the reason why you didn't score an A+ or A.
Yeah.
That you failed or you just passed, barely passed.
Yeah.
But your behavior in showing up or not, that has nothing to do with your dyslexia.
That's correct. Exactly. That is a choice.
If you decide to write that paper or not,
Yeah.
has nothing to do with your dyslexia.
Yes.
It has to do with your structure and discipline to write that paper or not.
Yes. And if you lower your expectations for yourself, that is on you. That is not on your diagnosis. And that's the whole point. It's like your capacity to read or your capacity to pay attention or your capacity to tolerate whatever it is may be a limitation in one or other moment, but whether you continue to the next moment and the next moment and the next moment and continue pushing forward, that is a choice you're making. And that is something that's defining you as a person. And it's so important in this whole evolutionary game that we're playing, which is you're born here, you get to choose. You get to choose almost everything. And you definitely get to choose how you respond to what's going on in the outside world. That the responsibility that you have is to grow yourself and become more efficient and more fluent and more in the flow with what you're doing, how you're responding, and how you progress in your life.
And the thing is, I had a very dear friend of mine. He doesn't live in Boston. He lives... I don't talk to him that much. I'd love to talk to him much more. Met him a few weeks ago. And he in a grown age...
Yeah, as an adult?
As an adult.
Yeah.
Got diagnosed with ADHD.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting to see how he deals with it, because for him, it was just a relief because he felt something. I wish I had time to talk to him more, because it's one of the things that I will ask you next time I meet you. But the way he has, it felt like it made him understand himself so much more. And it gave him like okay, good, I'm not crazy. Good. It's a reason for this.
Yeah.
So it gave him a lot of relief, I think. Again, I'm going to ask him about the past, because he understood why he had difficulties in university, why it was, I can't remember the whole story, but it was something with switching bachelors and whatnot, and why that was so difficult for him. Mm-hmm. And it's very fascinating to look at him now, because he knows it.
Yeah.
And how he works with it.
Yeah.
Because he says, I know when it kicks in.
Yeah.
And he's now in the game of figuring out where it kicks and where it doesn't.
Yes.
And how to hijack himself. Like we say, we also do that. We hijack ourselves.
Yeah.
I know if it's something I don't want to do, but I really should.
Yep.
I tell you and I give you my word that I should do it.
Yeah.
Because I know that with you, I cannot, you should never. But I know with you, I can never, if I break my word, the trust is gone, and the trust is everything.
Yeah.
Between us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if I break that, well then, sorry the language, fuck everything else. So I know I cannot break that.
Yeah. Likewise.
That's kind of the thing. So that's the one way I hijacked myself. I talked about this before with Eirik. We have, like, if we kiss on it, we can't
Break it.
break it.
Yeah.
So we
But everything else can kind
can
of be
kind of
negotiated.
we shouldn't eat we don't eat candy, right?
Yeah,
we stop
yeah,
eating
no,
candy.
never
Yeah,
eat
we stop
candy.
eating candy,
Yeah.
and then we act like you last for like 2 months, and then we have candy,
Bam.
and then
Yeah.
well, fuck it, we have some candy. But if we had kissed on it, we would never
Yeah,
take in
it
the
is.
candy. If we did, we need to have a
Negotiation.
negotiation around it, because
it.
it was kissed upon. Therefore, that's a written agreement. It's a contract.
Yeah.
So how are we around this contract now? Like you can reevaluate, but you can't break it.
Yeah, you can't break it without negotiation, conversation.
And
Yeah,
go-
because sometimes you say something that's important and you set a limit in 1943 that's not important in 2023,
Yeah.
right? So,
So in
you can renegotiate, but it's a conscious thing.
Now we can wear purple now
Yeah.
because Grandpa's dead and
Exactly.
Joey's been dead for 100 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we
Little
can wear
Johnny.
purple.
We
we
love
get,
little Johnny, but
Yeah.
he's gone.
Yeah,
So
so
is Grandpa.
it's kind of, you can
Yeah.
renegotiate around it, but
Yeah.
it's very interesting again how he now is figuring out how to make it difficult for himself. So one of the things that he did, that he actually told me that he
Mm-hmm.
did, and that was that because he can't have money on his account.
Yeah.
He cannot have money on his account.
Yeah.
They disappear. And he tried everything from, so he had a credit card with a lot of money. That did not work. And he took it down and down and down until I think he just had 3,000 crowns, so $300 for his credit card, just
Yeah.
like in case.
Yeah.
But he still uses
He's
it.
going to use it because he gets excited.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he does two things. One, he have invested in silver,
Uh-huh.
because if you're gonna exchange in a silver coin,
Yeah,
it's
a
a
pain
lot
in
of
the ass.
hassle.
It's such
so
a pain in
by
the
that
ass.
time he has rearranged himself and his focus on something else.
Exactly.
And I think that's such a genius way of dealing with it, because he said, I tried everything,
Yeah.
it doesn't work, the money's gone. But if it's a silver coin, it takes so much time, because like he loves tools,
Yeah.
like like
Yeah.
stuff, like what's it called, bits.
Yeah. Like drill bits and
Yeah,
drills
and
and all
he
kinds of
he has all of them.
Yeah.
All of them. I get snaps daily, almost, about how many hammers and stuff he has. So if he's in the store and he walks past one of those, he goes,
gotta have it.
"Oh, he's gonna have it."
Yeah.
But and then you're online, and it's even worse.
Oh my God.
But if you have a silver coin, you can't pay that,
Very difficult.
because you have to get an envelope, a special one, and you're gonna have to send it, and it's so much work that the thrill around that bits package is gone.
Yeah.
So this is a way he has figured how to hijack himself
Yeah.
to do that, and he's saving money,
Yes.
because he's getting a lot of saving in coins, and silver and gold is if you're gonna have savings
Yeah.
and not put them in a fund or
Yeah.
stuff, that's super smart.
It's super smart. I will tell you one thing though. I inherited a whole bunch of silver. It is so freaking heavy. It's like,
Oh yeah,
my
it's
God,
super heavy.
It's so heavy, and it's so much. Like one gold coin is like, I don't know. It is a bag of silver, baby. It's
Yeah.
like a whole bunch. So, I hope that he starts going for gold after a while, because he's going to have a closet full of silver.
But it's very smart,
it's genius.
because he cannot, because you should have savings.
you should
You
have
should
some-
have
yeah,
savings
yeah, yeah, you should.
in and a way for
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
him to get that is by, so he's hijacking himself to not make a lot of stupid decisions, and he's saving money,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
which he wouldn't have done any other. This is the only way he can do that.
Yeah.
So he's kind of figuring a way how to hijack that, and because of who he is, he likes the order, because that's something that ADHD gives you.
Yeah.
He can get so focused. Like, you should see how the setup for those tools and those silver coins are.
Perfect.
It's impressive.
Wow.
It's so
Yeah.
impressive.
That's so cool.
So
Yeah.
he also uses a nice, because I also see that he uses it like that. It looks like a chaos machine in the beginning, but then he starts to organize. It's very fascinating. It gets so organized. It's insane. That focus he can have. And then you look behind him, it looks like shit. But right where his focus is,
Bam. That's it. And it's such a beautiful thing, because he's serving his life in general. He's learning how to hijack his behavior. And basically, he's learning how to hijack himself with a new behavior. Sorry. He's learning how to set up a system so that his tendencies don't wreck him, and he's demanding that he's going to have a super functional and good life instead of making the excuse.
Yeah, and so for him, I think the diagnosis, like I said, I think it helped him because he understood
Yeah.
why things were so difficult in university, why it was difficult in school.
Yeah.
Because he kind of never figured out, because he could have focused, but then he couldn't. It didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So with that diagnosis, it helped him
Yeah.
to go, oh, that makes so much sense.
Yep.
Like,
That's it.
I have anger. That's why I always have to buy new china.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I'm gonna invest in rubber plates now. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Or you figure out a way to deal with it, because he hasn't used the diagnosis as an excuse for his behavior.
And allow the behavior to continue.
No, because the behavior is not helping him.
That's right.
It's taking so much from him, so many opportunities, so much. He never. I know he had talked about getting a promotion at work that, and this was before the diagnosis. He didn't dare to take, because he knew he couldn't concentrate.
Yeah.
But now that he knows, I think he's gonna do it, because he knows what it is now.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have to fear, like, what is it under my bed?
Yeah, yeah, 'cause
Is it a snake? Is it a lion? Is it a turtle? Is it a squirrel?
Yeah. So setting a diagnosis can actually be helpful.
Yeah.
Because then you at least understand what the face of the monster is. You understand that, okay, you have dyslexia. You will always have more friction when you're reading and writing than other people. Oh, okay. Now,
What are you going to do about it?
that's it. And also comparison. Because let's say that you're the kid in the class that has been put in the group where people have Down syndrome. Well, I got to feel pretty smart there, actually. And when I came into the other room, actually, I felt very smart there too, after I understood I had dyslexia. But before that, I felt like the stupidest one because nothing made sense for me. I would get like...
And then you have
And I don't
20
know
kids
why.
saying, yeah, but it's 4. And you go,
like, no, it's not. It's -2. Like, what? How are
well,
you
it is
getting
-2 if you do this with it.
Yeah, if you do this, then it's okay, what are we talking about here?
That's a smart teacher that saw that you switched it.
Yeah, well,
she knew math.
She knew math, and she also, I was kind of lucky because I'm like, I can't stand for this. It's wrong. Like, I went there.
You're a shit kid.
Little
That's a shit kid.
That's a shit kid. Little Jason is up there, he's like erasing and
First day in
changing.
school.
Yeah,
It's wrong.
Seriously, first day of school. And the way she took it, she's like, oh honey, I think you have dyslexia, instead of what in
The world.
Yeah, wow.
Sit down.
Yeah, exactly.
You wrecked my equation.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And so I'm very thankful to her. I have a lot of love for her. But to go back to this, just getting the diagnosis is important so that you understand what kind of animal you're dealing with. But it is not an excuse for the behavior that comes afterwards. Comparison with other people, well, they have it way easier than me. So you have to expect less from me because that's harder for me. Wrong. Little ding, ding, ding. Little Johnny, can keep moving forward. Come on. Don't expect less. Know that everybody's going to have something in their life that makes more friction. Avoiding functioning as a human because of that thing. I mean, some people are lucky. It doesn't really affect their life. But in society, sometimes you're unlucky and it affects everything you do. So like ADHD or like dyslexia or whatever in this, if you have anxiety disorders, that a lot of people are dealing with that every single day.
I just figured out like 3 months ago that I had social anxiety.
Yeah, right.
And I started laughing so hard because you explained so much. So I just have to say that because we were walking to this big event at Mind Valley University, and it's like a couple of thousand people. And my social anxiety could just feel it working next to me going, what if there's people there? Like, well, it's going to be people there. You sure? What if you show up late? What if you show up early?
Yeah, right.
What if there's no one there?
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't win. Is it too many people? Yeah. Is it too few people? Yeah. Are you too early? Yeah. Are you too late? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
What you should speak. Yeah.
Yeah.
You shouldn't speak. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was just okay. You honey, just you're gonna be okay.
right.
You know, and it just
Yeah.
explains so much because I always hate showing up to things. I hate it. It makes me, but I never let it stop me.
No.
But I've always hated it. Like I can't explain how horrific it is for me to walk into a room that I don't know. If I don't, that's why I always end up owning the room because then I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
Because I'm not comfortable before I own the room.
Yeah, that's it.
And I didn't understand why until like 3 months ago. I'm like, it's social anxiety. And then it became much easier.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, it's fine. I know I don't have to own the room. I can decide if I want to or not.
Yeah. So you got a skill from that. So it actually gave you a little bit of a superpower.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the thing that you're in every story, like Joseph Campbell says, the hero goes into basically is presented with something horrendous, horrible, and then they go into the belly of the whale to learn and rework themselves around that thing, and they come out the hero. It's the hero's journey. So turning whatever your friction is, whether it's a diagnosis or something else, into your greatest gift is the greatest gift. All of the most talented people in the world, the people who stick out in people's minds, had something very polar inside them, and it usually came from something horrible that happened to them or some thing that was broken inside them.
The thing that is your diagnosis or your issue is also the biggest strength that you have.
It's the power
because it's
plant.
going to force, if you're going to use this as, if you're not going to use it as an excuse,
Yes.
it's going to force you to develop, and you're going to develop rapidly in that area.
Yes, that's it.
Like social anxiety, I always own the room. If not, I quit.
Yeah, right?
That's been the pattern all my whole life.
Yeah, but now you go, oh, I have social anxiety. I can either own the room or I can relax and enjoy. And I'm going to feel the anxiety, but as soon as I basically sit here for a few minutes, I realize nothing to be afraid. I'm
gonna be
fine.
fine. I'm not.
Yeah.
No one's gonna kill me.
Exactly. But that energy led you to be
And
able
that led
to
me to
own
well,
the
this
room.
uniform to begin with, because
Yeah.
I went to I always ended up leading, so I kind of wanted to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
So it's given me a lot, but understanding it made me able to understand what it was, made me able to relax more with it, so I can actually I can enjoy a social setting, just sitting there, and be relaxed without having to be in charge.
That's it.
And if you do that all the time, it's quite exhausting. So it's but the question is just that when you get information about yourself, what are you going to do with it?
That's it. People
Or
say-
I have anger,
yeah.
or I am enthusiastic. Good. So what now? That's kind of
Exactly.
question. What now?
Yeah. And if you want to know whether you are geared towards whether you have to work on this or not, ask yourself the question. When somebody pointed out that you were walking around with your zipper down, or that you forgot to shut the lights off of your car, or
You have something green
or you
in
got
the
something
teeth.
green in the teeth, are you grateful to them for the information and do something about it? Or do you actually get a little angry at them? Because I used to get angry at people like, okay,
I got embarrassed and shame.
yeah, I'm embarrassed and shamed, so I'm going to be angry at you. So, thanks, jerk. You know, how dare you be looking down here anyway? You know, like, what's the only healthy response there?
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. Super, dude. Thank you. And people think about that. And that one example may not be an issue for you, but when people are giving you information, do you make the excuse or do you accept it and use it and move on? Do you basically level up in gratefulness? Imagine if you could level up in gratefulness at all times. That's perfect. Remember, you matter. Unless you multiply yourself by the speed of light squared, then you're energy. But if you can't be energy, matter.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. We hope you felt we added something to your day and hopefully your life. If you want to learn more, subscribe to our newsletter and find us at integrated-human.com. That is integrated-human.com. Integrated Human on YouTube and other social media platforms. Have a great day, and thank you again for listening. Love, light, and upgrade from us at the Integrated Human team.